what we call hierarchy of needs. Now, you can imagine a pyramid, okay? And you've got the base and then you've got the top. Now, at the base of that pyramid are our actual needs. And this pyramid is aligned with our happiness and joy, okay? So you can imagine you've got a pyramid of your needs, and then there's also a line that goes with it. So as you move from the bottom of the pyramid to the top, your happiness is getting more and more and more. Now, at the very bottom of the pyramid are our, what you could consider logistic needs. We need to have food to eat. अगर आदमी रोज बिना खाते हुए सो रहा है, chances are he's not going to be very happy. If we're going to sleep hungry every night, or if I'm unable to feed my family, मेरे बच्चे को भूख लग रहा है, और मेरे पास कुछ साधन नहीं है उनको खाना खिलाना. It's very difficult to be really happy, really in peace, when your stomach is empty and you have no way to fill it, when you're not able to feed your loved ones. It's very difficult to be deeply happy when you don't know where your next meal's going to come from, when you don't have a roof over your head, or you have a roof but it's leaking, or barish ki mausam aane wale. It's about to rain. So we need this basic, fundamental needs to be filled. Food, shelter, basic education, health care, and the ability to be free, meaning, tonight I would like to go to the movies, or I would like to go for a cup of chai or coffee with my friends. Now, if I'm so poor that if for 2 hours I stop working, and now there's not going to be enough money to give my children sweaters for the winter, I don't have freedom. If I'm ill and I really need to spend a day in bed, but I can't, because if I don't show up at work today, there's not going to be food on our table tonight. That lack of just basic facilities, necessities, freedom, steals most people's happiness. But beyond that, once we have that, our happiness no longer comes from having more money and more things. It's not the more the happier. कुछ नहीं है तो unhappy. लेकिन जब इतना है कि मैं निश्चिंत हूँ, कि मैं ठीक से खाना खा पाऊंगी, ठीक से खाना खिला पाऊंगी, घर ठीक है, बच्चों को शिक्षा मिलेगा. Beyond that, the things that bring us happiness are not more money, more gold, more things. The things that bring us happiness beyond that are connection. Connection. Connection is critical. Now, most people think of connection in terms of my friends or my family members. And that's beautiful. But as Pujya Swamiji leads us in singing every night on the banks of Ganga, Sabse Onchi Prem Sagai, that highest form of love, the highest form of connection is with God. We know in families, in friends, there are beautiful moments and then there are difficult moments. There's divorce, there's betrayal, there's cheating, there's unfulfilled expectations, there's so much. So it's not that that connection in and of itself brings me always joy. But that connection with God does. God's not going to betray you, not going to harm you, not going to tell your secrets, not going to divorce you. So connection is critical. Another very critical piece is what we consider meaningful work. Something that at the end of the day, I know that it mattered to someone somewhere that I got out of bed that day. That me getting out of bed in the morning had an impact. Not just that my bank account became bigger or I bought more things, but actually that somewhere, someone was positively impacted by the fact that I chose not to stay in bed all day. And of course, there's a million different ways that that can happen. But to be able to be engaged, whether it's the way we actually make a living or whether it's not. It may be what we do in our free time. But to have enough hours of our life, ones that are meaningful, that are making a difference in some way. Doesn't matter whether you're stuffing envelopes to raise money for a volunteer organization, or you're cleaning their windows, or you're painting a battered women's shelter, or you're making sandwiches for the poor, or you're designing the website for the foundation that makes the sandwiches and feeds the poor. Doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, that it's having an impact, or of course that you're the CEO of a company that is, through the company, bringing great change, great assistance, great help to so many people. So many companies have beautiful foundations that are doing beautiful work in the world. Or maybe you're a company that's hiring differently abled people and giving them a job. Again, a million different ways. But that somehow my life is making a difference to someone other than my own ego. I remember when I was in the midst of getting my PhD in psychology, before I came to India, I was already very frustrated. I was a straight A student. I was a very good student. But I really wanted to help. I had gotten into psychology because I wanted to help children, especially children who had been abused and harmed in some way. And I kept feeling like I was jumping through hoops. And I remember saying to my advisor, when is any child actually going to be able to benefit from what I'm doing? That at the end of every day, I feel only like my ego has benefited. I got another A on an exam, or another teacher said, "Oh, that was a very smart comment you made in class." Or I got the highest grade on something, and so the ego was happy. But I was already aware that the only one being benefited by my existence was my own ego. No matter how much education I kept getting. And I was getting very impatient. When is it going to start really making a difference? Because this is critical to our happiness. And I was really aware of it. And when I came to India, aside from the deep spiritual experiences, when I met Pujya Swamiji, in addition to being so aware that I had met this divine being whose blessings, whose grace was going to transform my life. Aside from that, when I saw all of the programs, the humanitarian work, the charitable work, the schools, the programs for women, the medical care programs, the programs for the environment, I realized that God was giving me a chance to be part of something that really made a difference, rather than just having my ego jump through hoops. And so that sense of meaning is critical. So don't worry. Don't worry about what others are doing. Gold खरीदने दो, गाड़ियाँ खरीदने दो, क्या फर्क पड़ता? कम से कम कोई तो खरीद रहे हैं, वो जो बेचने वाले आदमी को कुछ मिल रहे हैं, वो अपनी फैमिली को खाना खिला पाएंगे. ठीक है? Don't worry what they're doing, but worry about yourself. Of how am I going to find my joy? Make sure those needs are fulfilled. Make sure that there's, something in the bank so that if you're not working next month, there still will be food on the table. And then beyond that, focus on connection and meaning in your life. And you'll find a much, much deeper source of joy than just by having more things. Was it my karma that made me decide to walk through that park in the first place? Right? That's what you're asking? Did my karma make me decide to walk through that park so that I would have this experience with getting bitten? Right? Was that the question? Okay. So, everything that happens, yes, of course, it's connected to my karma. But remember that my karma, or my destiny, the karma is the action. That which we receive from the karma, the fruits of that action, form my destiny. Now, we keep creating that. It's not that thousands of years ago, sitting somewhere in the heavens, it was written that on such and such a date, you're going to walk through a park and get bit by a dog. We keep creating our realities. So for example, let's say that I made a decision that to me, what was most important was to get ahead in my company. That I really, 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 kuch bhi ho jaye, I want to become higher up in the company. So I'm going to work 100-hour work weeks, 120-hour work weeks. I'm not going to get sleep. I'm not going to meditate. I'm not going to be with my family. I'm not going to have my spiritual practice or my exercise. I'm just going to work, work, work. Now, that's a decision I've made. It's karma. It's an action. I am literally acting through this 120-hour crazy work week just so that I can get a higher position, have more power, have more money, have more prestige. Now, as part of that, I can't be away from my phone even for 2 seconds, because what if there's a message and I'm supposed to do something and I don't see it, and somebody else sees it and does it, then they get ahead and I miss the boat? Therefore, I am constantly staring at my phone. Again, it's a karma. That's a karma. It's an action. As I am staring at my phone, I find myself walking not on the correct path, not on the path that I walk every other day, but I've walked off the path onto a littler path accidentally because I wasn't paying attention, because I'm on the phone. And on that little path, the dog comes and bites me. Now, was that a result of my karma? Yes. I had made a series of decisions that led to me being in a place where the dog ended up being, in a situation where I wasn't paying attention to the fact that the dog came at me from quite far away. If I had been paying attention, I would have seen it. I could have gotten out of the way. I could have gotten back on the main road. But I was distracted. I wasn't paying attention. So in that case, being bit by the dog is the result of my actions. But it's not like thousands of years ago it was written, right? You see how we are creating our destiny every minute and every moment. It's also important to realize it's not a punishment or a reward. It's not like, oh, you've made bad decisions and therefore you're being punished. You made a bad decision not to meditate, so God sent the dog to bite you. We think like that though. Oh, I didn't meditate today. That's why I got bit. No, it's not a punishment. But the decision to forget everything else, to forsake everything else, just in service of more money, more power, more prestige, has led me to be very tired, which also could have led to the fact that I found myself on the wrong path, not paying attention. It has led me to be totally distracted, which brought me on the wrong path. Therefore, I found myself in the place where the dog was. Does that make sense how it works? Now, also, here's the other thing about karma. We tend to think of it as one directional, a cause and effect, single cause, single effect. So for example, I made this decision about the job, therefore I get bit by the dog. Okay? Single cause, single effect. But karma doesn't only work like that. It's not I do something and then I get the reaction. Sometimes things happen not because of something you've done in the past, but because of something that needs to happen in the future. So, for example, there's a beautiful, beautiful story, history story, that we call the Ramayana. And there isn't time for me to go into all of it, but there's one story that illustrates this very beautifully. In our garden area here at Parmarth Niketan, where we have all of the beautiful jankis, the statues. One of them is a statue of a young man, and he's got kind of a thing on his shoulder and what looks like weight, like a balance. But on each of them, one is sitting a woman, one is sitting a man. And that is the statue of Shravan Kumar, who's a beautiful young man, and he's taking his mom and his dad on pilgrimage. They are blind. Now, also at this time, totally unconnected. Flash to another area. We have a king, Dashrath. And he's not able to produce offspring. And naturally, he wants to produce offspring. His wives want him to produce offspring. But nothing is happening. Okay, so we have these two unconnected situations. Shravan Kumar is walking through the forest with his parents. They stop to rest at a dharamshala, a hermitage. And Shravan Kumar leaves his parents there and he goes to the river to collect water to give his parents some water to drink. When he goes to the water, the river, at that time, coincidentally, King Dashrath is a very good man, a good king. We'll forgive him for the fact that he hunted. It was sort of, we'll call it part of the culture of the day. Was out hunting. And he hears the movement at the river, thinks it's a deer, and lets loose his arrow. Now the arrow hits Shravan Kumar. And the king comes to get what he thinks is the deer, sees this injured young man, feels horrible, obviously. He's just bereft. Tries to help Shravan Kumar. Shravan Kumar says, my life is seeping out of me. There is nothing you can do for me. But my parents are in that hermitage. They are blind. Please bring them this water. So the king, with a very heavy heart, goes and brings the water to the parents. And of course, the parents call out. They hear the noise, and they call out, Shravan Kumar, Shravan Kumar. Now you think, what's the king going to say? So he stays quiet. Again, they say, Shravan Kumar, Shravan Kumar, you've come back, talk to us. And finally the king brings himself to tell them this horrible mistake that has happened. Now, Shravan Kumar's parents, of pure heart, beautiful people, and it's said that people with pure heart have the Shakti, the ability to bless and also to curse. And Shravan Kumar's parents now curse this king, that just as we are dying of a broken heart due to the loss of our son, so you will die of a broken heart due to the loss of your son. But he didn't have any sons. Now you look at how karma works. Now, in order to fulfill this curse given to him by Shravan Kumar's parents, now the universe has to give him offspring. Okay? So again, it's a very long story, but eventually he has 4 sons. We go into the whole story of the Ramayana that I won't go into, but Lord Ram ends up getting, who's one of his sons, the divine incarnated, ends up getting sent off to the forest. The king has to send his son, his divine son, on the day of his coronation as king, into exile for 14 years. As he does, as Ram is being taken off and walking off into the forest with his brother Lakshman, his wife Sita, King Dashrath is crying, his heart is breaking. And in that moment, he suddenly starts calling out, Shravan Kumar, because he remembers, he understands. No one knows what's happened, but he understands. Now, I share that story because otherwise we could say, why did Ram have to go to the forest? It makes no sense. He's the embodiment of dharma, of righteousness, of the perfect son, of the perfect husband, of the perfect brother. But he had to get exiled because his father had to die of that broken heart due to this curse. So you see all the different ways that karma is, and of course that's only one strand of it. There's of course all sorts of other strands that also weave in, other people's lives, other karmas. So it moves in every direction. Sometimes something happens because something else in the future has to happen. Now, One way of looking at it is to say, King Dashrath had to have these sons because of the curse from Shravan Kumar's parents. But a much deeper way of looking at it, in terms of actually the incarnation of Bhagwan Ram on earth, is in order to have the son who's going to be this divine incarnated on earth, Shravan Kumar had to be killed and his parents had to curse the king because the king was supposed to have this offspring and he wouldn't have this offspring otherwise. So that which otherwise seems like a senseless tragedy for Shravan Kumar to be killed makes sense if you understand that the universe needed something to fall into place so that Lord Ram would be born. So it's very complex and very beautiful. But in terms of our lives, what's most important is to just understand that everything that is happening for a reason. But that doesn't mean that I need to be complacent. It doesn't mean, oh, chalo, I'm not going to do anything. Whatever it is, just let it happen. We need to be actively engaged in creating our destiny. Engaged in karma, in action. I'll leave you with a beautiful and easy teaching mantra. Pujya Swamiji taught it to me in the very beginning when I first came. Engage yourself in karma under the shade of Dharma with an awareness of Brahma. And what it means is engage yourself in action. Right action. Yogic action, when we say karma yoga, it's action leading to an awareness of oneness, or action stemming out of an awareness of oneness. So we act under the shade of Dharma. We act according to Dharma, universal Dharma, honesty, integrity, compassion, truthfulness, right? These sorts of universal commandments. But also our own personal Dharma. What is our path? And then, with the awareness of Brahma, means the awareness of God. So we're anchored and rooted in that connection with the divine. So she asked, how do we control our anger and bring peace to the mind? देखिए, क्रोध कहाँ से आते हैं? मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन से आते हैं. मेरी एक इच्छा है और फिर एक एक्सपेक्टेशन हो कि जो मैं चाहती हूँ वो हो जाए. जिस तरह से मैं चाहती हूँ, जब मैं चाहती हूँ, जिससे मैं चाहती हूँ, वो होना चाहिए. नहीं हुआ तो फिर नाराज हो गया क्योंकि होना था. I was explaining to her that the reason we get angry is because we have expectations. That things should go a certain way, how we want them. And when they don't, we're angry. The answer, therefore, the solution, is कि मैं दूसरों से कुछ ऐसा expect ना करें कि अगर नहीं होगा तो फिर मैं angry हो जाऊं. Because I don't have control over anybody else. I only have control over myself. So if I have an expectation that someone else will act in a certain way, speak in a certain way, but I don't have any control over what they do, then I've put my mental state at the mercy of someone else's mood. And then it's just a recipe for disaster. So if you want to be free of anger, you have to be free of the expectations. Only expect from yourself कि मैं जो भी हो जाए मैं खुश रहूंगी, क्योंकि वो मेरा स्वभाव है, वो मेरा नेचर है. My nature is joy. My nature is love. My nature is peace. And therefore, whatever happens, I will be joyful. I will be peaceful. Have that expectation of yourself, because you do have control over yourself. So only expect from the self, not from others. और मन को शांत करने के लिए वही बात है जो दूसरे लोग कर रहे हैं या करने जा रहे हैं या किया, उसके बारे में सोचने बंद कर दो. We lose the peace in our mind because we are so stuck in thinking about other people. What they're going to do, what they're going to say, how they're going to react, what they've done to us, what they are doing to us. That's where we're all stuck. मैंने ठीक से प्यार से बात किया, उसने मेरे से कैसे तमीज़ से बात किया. Right? क्या बदतमीज़ी करे थे मेरे से, मैं तो इतनी प्यारी थी. I was so nice and this person was suddenly so rude and obnoxious. वहाँ से सारी अशांति होती है. All of our lack of peace comes there. So we have to really bring that attention deep within ourselves. जो बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं करने दो, वो तो उनका कर्म है. मेरा कर्म क्या है वो मुझे देखना है, और मेरा धर्म क्या है मुझे देखना है. और मेरा धर्म नहीं है कि मैं दूसरों की जज हूँ. Right? None of us has been given the dharma of being the judge of others. Even if you're a judge in a court, you're still only a judge for a case. You're not a judge about somebody's life. But we waste so much of our brain energy being the judge about other people's lives. Analyzing, judging, condemning, hoping, expecting, repenting. सारी शांति चले जाती उसमें. So stop thinking about it. Think about your life. What do you have to do? Each of us only has been given 24 hours in a day. And we have no idea how many days we've got left. And out of those 24 hours, have to sleep some of them. कम से कम 6-7 घंटे सोना तो चाहिए. वो कहते हैं 8 घंटे सोना चाहिए. For खाना, स्नान करना. Right? For अपनी spiritual practice. For कितना time बाकी है? काम पे जाना है. How much time do we have left? But how much time we waste thinking about other people, what they're saying, what they're doing. If we stop that, you'll find much more peace inside. Worry only about bringing peace to yourself, not what you need other people to do, then you will be in peace. आप जरा ठीक से बात करो फिर मैं शांत हो जाऊंगी. Right? No. आप जिस तरह से बात करेंगे मैं शांत रहूं, क्योंकि मैं शांत हूं, वो मेरा नेचर है. जिस तरह से मेरे से बात करेंगे मैं शांत हूं. This is the work we need to do. I am peace. Therefore, I am peaceful. However someone is speaking to me, whatever they're doing. Because that's my nature. Because peace is my nature. Joy is my nature. Not just me, all of us. That's the nature of who we are. Because the nature of who we are is divine. Now, if you've cultivated a personality over your life, of being angry, of being anxious, of being jealous, of being competitive, of being judgmental, तो फिर थोड़ा सा मेहनत करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि आदत बन गई. लेकिन उसी आदत आप तोड़ सकते हैं. We just have to work to break the habit. We lay new sanskaras, new habits, new ways of thinking. Let this be the beautiful way you walk into 2022. अब मैं शांत रहूंगी. जो हो जाए, मैं शांत रहूंगी. It's a beautiful resolution. I am peaceful. Whatever happens, I am peaceful. No one will steal my peace.
जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल हरि बोल. जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि हरि बोल हरि
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
प्रेम के बस अर्जुन रथ हाक्यो
प्रेम के बस अर्जुन रथ हाक्यो
भूल गए ठकुराई सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई
सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई ओम जय गंगे माता मैया जय गंगे माता जो नर तुमको ध्याता जो नर मैया जी को ध्याता मन वांछित फल पाता ओम जय गंगे माता चंद्र सी ज्योत तुम्हारी जल निर्मल आता
मैया जल निर्मल आता शरण पड़े जो तेरी शरण पड़े जो तेरी सोनर तर जाता ओम जय गंगे माता
एक ही बार जो तेरी शरणागति आता
ओ मैया शरणागति आता यम के त्रास मिटा कर यम के कष्ट मिटा कर परमगति पाता ओम जय गंगे माता
मंगलकारिणी मैया तू है सुखदाता
ओ मैया तू है सुखदाता तेरी गोद में आकर तेरी शरण में आकर मन शांति पाता ओम जय गंगे माता
आरती मात तुम्हारी जो जन नित गाता
ओ मैया प्रेम सहित गाता दास वही है सहज में भक्त वही है सहज में मुक्ति को पाता ओम जय गंगे माता ओम जय गंगे माता ओ मैया जय गंगे माता जो नर तुमको जाता जो नर मैया जी को जाता मनवांछित फल पाता ओम जय गंगे माता जय गंगे माता जय गंगे माता त्वमेव च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमण जय राधा रमण जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल। जय जय राधा रमण जय जय राधा रमण जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल। जय जय